Bentley Rhythm Ace are a British group who were originally formed as a duo in 1995 in Birmingham. But one of them, Richard March, was originally from York and born in the same year as me. I grew up in York, but there's a very small chance we went to school together. I don't remember the name. Anyway, Bentley were known for electronic music. They released a couple of albums and split in 2000. And they reformed in 2016 for live performances and are still going. There are maybe four of them now. Wikipedia is a bit unclear as to what the official membership is. Hi, my name's Dan, and this is a review of the album Bentley Rhythm Ace by Bentley Rhythm Ace. It's their first album, and it propelled them to minor fame. Uh, so most of the reviews on this channel, I found this list at a website called Clem Music, where they've put together an amalgamated list from critics lists, and they claim that this list could be the 3,000 best albums of all time. And I have given myself a rather crazy challenge, which is to review all of them. So I've worked my way up from 3,000. I'm 100 off the halfway point at the moment, roughly around there. But occasionally I step off the list. And one of those reasons is to do albums that I particularly enjoy. I have three categories for them. There's those that I called criminally missing, which I think really should be on the list and aren't. There are those that I call hidden gems, which I think people are not going to really know about, or they're fairly obscure albums. And then there's ones that are in the middle. And the middle, I couldn't think of a better name other than Dan's Picks. So this is one of my picks. And it's one of my favourite albums from the Big Beat era. This is kind of late 90s. The Big Beat was kind of mid to late 90s, I think. Um, so it feels electronic. There's a load of samples going on, but there's also what feels like real drums at times. Sometimes feels more like sample drums, and real bass at times. Again, sometimes it feels like it's real bass and then it's been looped. It's the feel of it is electronic, and despite the fact that there's obviously some real instrumentation here. So there's samples and there's loops. It's mostly fast, urgent, and complex. Mostly instrumental, but there's the occasional vocal sample. Some of it is speech, some of it little bits of singing, I think, if I remember. Yeah. And they're fairly long tracks, but not hugely. The drum patterns are quite layered and complex. There's a lot of stuff going on in the stereo image, lots of things going in and out, and then it does kind of very sudden shifts. It keeps the same speed, but it might change everything that you can hear, just a very kind of sudden shift into a different feel. At times, it's got more of a kind of first chorus structure than some electronic has. Some electronic is very much a continuum. This isn't as continuous in that sense. It'll shift backwards and forwards between things. Sometimes it's more of this kind of the shifting thing. Well, what I like about this is that it's always interesting. There's a lot going on. Um, there's um, there's always another switch upcoming to keep you interested. And there's some really interesting choices of sound here. Like, so the first track, Let There Be Flutes, has got a lot of flutes in it, which is unusual, I think, for something like electronic music. There's a kind of low growling that sounds almost animal on Who Put the Bomb in the Bomb Bomb Diddle I Bomb. Um, some of those choices I'm less keen on. So there's the track Midlander brackets, there can be only one, which obviously is a play on the name Highlander, but it's also a play on the fact that they're from the British Midlands. It has a background grinding noise that's out of time with everything else, and I find it really irritating. That's my least favourite track on the album as a result. There's lots of sound effects and interesting noises going on through the whole thing. And so the things that I like about it is, I like the feel. of what's going on here. I like the sheer inventive variety of what they're doing, and they kind of step out from the expected norms of electronica quite often, I would say. And I like the cheeky kind of joyful attitude in which they do it. Everything's got this happy enthusiasm to it. So it's a far cry from ambient or micro house with minimal changes. It's more kind of music for people with ADH. It's a joyride, and I love it, or I love most of it. So anyway, here you are. I have given you my opinion of this album. I don't know how many people will know this album, but I'd love to hear from you what you think. Bentley Rhythm Ace were a reef kind of force to be reckoned with in Britain, and then kind of faded fairly quickly. Well, they only existed for 5 years in their first existence. Um, but I love to hear from you what you think of this album, what you think of Bentley, anything else you want to talk about. Please talk to me through the comments. But that's it from me for now.